Hello there, it's Sean, and welcome to day two of the launch challenge. And for day two, we'll be focusing on your signature sales presentation. So if you can hear me loud and clear, put a clear in the comments. If you are watching this live with us right now, drop a live in the chat. If you're watching the replay down the road, drop a replay in the comments as well and let me know who you are, where you're from, what is your business about, and what do you plan to launch. And if you haven't already seen day one, please go back and find that video in your members area and complete the 3 assignments. Awesome. Okay, let's get started. So, day two is about your signature sales presentation, and this requires you to already have your offer done. So, recap from day one, the 3 things that you should have completed are exercise number 1, the battles that you've won. Exercise number 2, the battles they'll win. And exercise number 3, the battles that we will win together. This sets the stage for a formula for your offer. Without this formula, then you won't be clear on why your offer sells, why do people want it. And without this formula, you can stack on the most beautiful bells and whistles, but it will not hit the spot. Because someone asked me before, hey, I feel that my offer is not on point. What can I do to make it more irresistible? So it's one thing to make irresistible promises. It's another thing to actually create something that can truly help people. So once you complete these 3 and you're able to keep it raw, as I have shared yesterday, RAW, real, authentic, and well thought, now you have a formula to create something that people will be willing to pay you for. Okay? So if you've completed your assignments, please remember to send them to me, because for days 2 and 3, day 2, we will be addressing your signature presentation. And day 3, we'll be building your signature container. That's when we build your audience and tribe of ready qualified buyers. Now, once your offer is out, now we will need to sell it, we'll need to validate it, we'll need to talk to people, we'll need to make sure that what we have is what people want. And when it comes to selling your offer, maybe you already have something. You might be a fitness coach that's already teaching classes. You might be a spiritual teacher that's already conducting sessions. And if you feel like, okay, I know that I have a high ticket offer, right? I help people with relationships. I help people with marketing or sales. I have something that I can charge. But whether I'm selling to one person, or whether I'm selling to a group of people, or whether I'm selling in a room, in person, or online like this, do you feel like, hey, I have a hard time articulating my value? And why do I have a hard time making what I have relevant to people? And when I present my solution, how do I present it in a way that makes sense? And in different situations, different contexts, I feel awkward about selling. I don't feel comfortable making a pitch. I don't know when to transition into my sales pitch. I want to keep, my social media channels for friends. I want to make it more social. And then now I have to, tell people that I'm selling something. I really don't know how to do it. How do I promote what I have? And if someone were to come to you today and say, hey, I know you are a spiritual coach. I know you're a fitness coach. I know you help people with marketing that and that kind of a thing. what will you actually show them? What will you actually show them? So the answer to all these questions is that whether you're selling your course, whether you're selling your high ticket program, whatever you're trying to sell, you have to understand that there is a formula. And no, it is not your tonality. It is not the words you use. It is not some magic script. Okay, there is a formula. So by now, by today, or by the end of today, we need to have your signature offer. Okay, and to be specific, I'm going to put this in your day two's members area. Your course outline needs to be completed. Okay, I'm not asking you to create the whole thing. I'm not asking you to produce the whole program. Okay, I'm just asking you to write the core pillars, the core modules of your program. Okay, and I'm going to help you create these together today in day two because we're going to sell it. And it does not have to be 5 modules. It does not have to be 4. Okay, it's really, and it's not even about more. It's not about adding so many things that people feel is valuable on the surface, but when they actually experience your solution, they complicate it for them. Okay, so what is the process of getting this outline out? Okay, we'll cover that today. We'll establish the buyer's journey, seller's process, and on top of your outline, your signature offer needs to be out as well. Okay, so this is a simple one-pager, no sales page, no fancy funnels. You'll just write from your heart, and if you want, you can use my template. Do not copy the template, but rather put in your own voice, put in your own message, put in your own energy, and think of the people that you're going to help and write directly to them. Put in your signature processes. Okay, put in, these are just a template. This is just a template, so you don't have to use every part. You can put in your own elements. This is just for your reference. You can remove certain elements that are not relevant. You can design your own things, and at the end of it, summarize the whole thing. And whatever the price and duration that you want to help people with your high ticket offer, the high ticket offer has your personal time. Okay, whether it's one-to-one, whether it's in a group, okay, both are fine. Just write accordingly. And again, keep it raw, keep it real, keep it authentic. Say, hey, here's who I am, and here's what I can help you with. And this is what we'll be working on together. And this is how I'm different. And this is my promise for you. And these are the things that will be inside the experience that you and I will have together, how long it's going to last, exactly what you're going to get. Okay. And then the investment, just put it on one page. Okay. Now you want to be as transparent as you can possibly be, okay, as well as a course outline. Okay, because these are things that you draw reference from when creating your content. These are things that you'll draw reference from when creating your sales assets. These are things you'll draw reference from when creating your signature offer. Okay. So this outline will be in your members area. This one pager will be your members area as well. And the example I'm using is the half-hour hustle. Okay, you can design the name of what your vehicle is going to be. And I want to repeat, okay, at this point, we have not created anything. Only the outline. Okay, don't create anything because we want to keep it raw and we want to implement fast. And in the event, you use this and you interview your clients, or you use this and you show people and they're like, oh, I'm confused by what's this. And I'm not sure this is relevant. You can very easily edit. You can very easily validate. And the reason you can pull things out and put it back in so fast is because nothing has been created. At this point, it just exists as a Google Doc. So it offers you maximum flexibility to edit accordingly. Okay. So the price is completely up to you. And here's the thing, by the time your outline is completed, you have a choice. You can sell this as your high ticket offer. Okay, you can charge whatever you want, or without your presence, without coaching, without your personal time, you can also sell this as a low ticket static course. Okay, the price is entirely up to you. But before we create, we want to sell first. And how do we do that? Okay, how do we do that? Today we have a exercise 4. Okay, so if you go to your launch index, you'll see an exercise 4 right here. And the main exercise for day 2 is to write the top 5 buyer beliefs, okay, of your ICA. What is a buyer belief? Okay, a buyer belief is a combination of 2 things. The first one is when people look at your content, they understand that you are a spiritual coach, meditation teacher, audio, you coach something on audio or video or marketing and sales, and they know your thing. They know what your gift is, okay? And they believe that they have a gap. The gap being a problem that exists in between their goals and where they are right now, that they need to solve right now. Okay, that's part 1. And part 2 is they believe that you are able to solve that gap. They believe that you are able to solve that gap. Combined, you create this impact, this belief on someone that, okay, I have this problem, and I kind of think that you are the person to help me with it. Okay, so we need to establish the top 5 buyer beliefs of your program. This is the formula that's going to ensure that this is going to ensure that the content that you put out, the marketing that you put out hits the right beliefs every single time. You're not talking about social life, you're not talking about personal stuff, you're not talking about random things. Like everything in your marketing, everything in your sales centers upon the top 5 beliefs. So we're going to hack the formula. We're going to hack the buyer's belief. Okay, let's do an exercise. Suppose today I'm selling my signature program called the half-hour hustle. You have no time to work. You are a busy professional. You don't have time to get your health in order, and you want to build muscle, you want to lose weight, and you don't have time, right? So I need to capture this detail, especially if you're hearing it again and again and again. Like people are coming to you and they're asking, like the way people come and ask you about your gift says a lot about how they want to experience your gift. If they're coming to you and they say, I don't have time, I don't have time, I don't have time, you really need to capture that message and understand that you're going to solve something that is an apparent time problem. Okay, and it's probably going to be one of your core pillars in your program. Okay, if they keep saying, I admire your consistency, I admire your discipline, I admire your focus, I admire the consistency of implementation, and I wish I had that. I wish I had that. Okay, you need to write these illustrations down. Okay, kind of all the variations that they say, but you know that at its core is this belief that they have. And it's really important for you to understand that not everyone is comfortable being vulnerable about their real beliefs, but it will come out in some shape or form through the illustrations. And once you collect enough illustrations, you'll very easily be able to pinpoint that, okay, I think in my program, these are the real beliefs that I'm solving. Like these are the real beliefs that when I put out there and I make a promise that I can help you overcome these, people are going to respond because I'm creating buyer value. I'm hitting buyer impact. Okay. Am I doing a good job explaining what the buyer beliefs are? If yes, put a yes in the chat. If you're not sure what constitutes a buyer beliefs, reach out and ask me because these are the core beliefs. Okay, and then there are illustrations, symptoms that happen in their day-to-day life. Okay, you need to capture all this because now these 5 will enter your signature presentation. Okay. So once you complete this exercise, we are ready for your signature sales presentation. Now, your SSP, your signature sales presentation, exists to achieve the following. Okay, you can't just do up a presentation and say that, well, today I feel like talking about fitness in general. Because why? I just feel like talking about it. Next week, I feel that maybe cardio is important. So today, let's do cardio. And next week, I want to talk about how health affects the color of your hair. And I'll just, so if you generate randomly, you're not really addressing buyer beliefs, because without buyer beliefs, people might just listen to your audio, they might just watch your videos, they might just consume your content, your copy, and be like, well, that's really interesting and I like it. You look really attractive, so I engage with you, right? You made a post about family, so I feel happy for you, and so I'm going to engage. Now, you didn't create buyer beliefs. You're creating social engagement. You're creating traction. You're creating views, but you're not pulling the buyers in. So by the time the non-buyers get on a call with you, if the buyer impact is not addressed, right, they will not be qualified buyers, and you don't want these people in your system. So having high engagement, having high quantity doesn't mean that you're creating buyer impact. You know what I'm trying to say? Which is why it's so important that at your core, in your formula, you already have to master these beliefs. Okay, like I know for my closer program, when remote closers want to start their closer journey, over the last few years, the things that they say repeat and repeat and repeat in all different kinds of variations, like if they can't find a good opportunity for them to do remote closing, they tend to say 5 to 10 things that are just variations of the same thing. And for them, pillar number one is, oh, I need an opportunity, right? Or if they are burnt out in their 9 to 5, they might talk about this job, talk about that job, talk about all different kinds of scenario, but all these scenarios are just variations of the same thing, which is them feeling burnt out and they need to transition out, right? So it will go on forever, but what you need to understand is to collect the variations and simplify the variations into a core belief that creates the buying belief, that creates the buyer impact. Okay, the keyword here is the buyer impact. The buyer impact is what creates the pool. Okay, if this message is loud and clear, drop a buyer impact in the comments. Because I know a lot of creators and teachers and coaches, they like to talk important to them. They like to talk about what's dear to them, and it can be a technique, it can be something really, really technical, but there's no buyer impact, because while it's important to the coach, okay, for the buyer, it's like, that's important to you, but it's not what I'm going through. So you really, really need to focus on the buyer impact and not your technical thing, not your technical process, not your technical mechanism. There is a place for that. It's going to come in a while, but right now, you really need to master this buyer impact so that you can create an inbound pull into your marketing and sales pipelines. Okay. So we'll start with the 5 locks first. What do I mean by a lock? Yesterday in our exercise 3, yesterday in our exercise 2, we established 5 locks. Yes, 5 locks in the buyer's journey, which is, okay, let's use the half-hour hustle as an example. I'm a busy professional and I don't have time for workout, or I'm not consistent, or there's uncertainty. So these are the 5 locks that we establish in the buyer's journey, yes? And then we have the 5 keys that we are looking to provide in the seller process. Combined, it becomes our 5 core modules. Now, it can be 3, it can be 6, it can be 10. That's really up to you. I'm using 5 for simplicity. Actually, even 3 or 4 is enough. Okay. So what's going to happen is I'm going to put all my locks here. Lock number 1, lock number 2, lock number 3, and lock number 4. Okay, it can be 3 or 5. That's up to you. So correspondingly, this is key number 1, this is key number 2, this is key number 3, and this is key number 4. Okay, and in my signature presentation, I'm going to sell you the lock. Do you have the time? Do you find that you don't have the time? Do you find that you're so busy, you're neglecting your health, your fitness, and it's affecting you, it's affecting your quality of life? Well, what if I provided you a daily 30-minute workout plan that no matter how busy you are, you can solve your problems anytime, anywhere? And you can just hear them replying. You can just hear them replying, but I'm really busy, right? But I really don't have the time, but I have an event, but I have to travel next week, but this, but that. So you can already predict all the buts coming out, and you need to prepare in advance. What is the one thing you're going to say to address this buyer belief early on? Because if you don't address this buyer belief early on, what's going to happen is on the sales call, it's going to come up as an objection. On a sales call, it's going to come out as a concern. Okay, so you want to attack this early on because this is your formula. That's why at the start of today's training, I said, if you're always wondering, what do I say? How do I present it? What do I show? Okay, hack the formula using this exercise, and you'll never have to worry, what do I say? How do I say? Oh, I don't feel confident. I don't feel prepared. And I feel so nervous. That all exists because you don't have your preparation done right. Once your preparation is done right, you know that no matter what variations come to me, whether it's a sales call, whether it's a Q&A after a physical workshop, whether it's a Q&A after a live workshop, whether someone texts you online, whether you have to produce a piece of copy, like anytime you have to express your offer to one person, to a lot of people, you know that, okay, let's classify this. Which lock do you think is relevant here? Oh, I feel like really it's a motivation problem. Okay. So what if we can solve your motivation problem by giving you that support? I have a network of people, like we train together, we are going to hold each other accountable, and we're going to check in on you, and we're going to give you all the support and encouragement you need. Do you think that can help you with your motivation and accountability? Because everyone is improving, everyone is moving. What do you think? Okay, so this exists in my accountability partner system. These are just random names that I generated, but you should really use one that is signature to your theme, signature to your brand. Okay, and you need to prepare. They're going to say, but the last program I had, they had a similar community and nobody responded, nobody helped, right? So you know that, okay, now to my client, remember on day one, I said that what's important and dear to you is not the same for the buyer. So if the buyer is telling you that, look, I appreciate you having an accountability partner system, but the last one I had, this happened and that happened. So you as a closer, you as a business owner, you as a marketer, you have to understand that these are variations of objections that happen because they are specific to the buyer's experience. So what we want to do in well thought, what we're going to do in being well thought, okay, the W in RAW. When we do this well thought principle, we want to understand, okay, the real reason this person could not solve their lock with their previous key is because the creator of that program was not present. Okay, so now we need to tackle the belief of, if in this new program, everyone is present, the coach is present, the coach can guide you, the coach can support you, the coach can demonstrate, and there is support, there is accountability, and here's the proof. What will you say to me? Okay, so this is a formula, this is a loop. This is matching the key to the lock and preempting the beliefs, and then selling your signature mechanisms. So no matter what the prospect throws at you, as long as it belongs to a specific lock, and you have the specific key, and you understand how to counter these limiting beliefs, and you have a signature mechanism, they have to go to you. They won't go to your competitors because your competitors do not have this signature formula, right? By putting this together, this is a very well thought thing that's designed for the buyer. It's not designed for you, right? So combined, this will be the essence of your signature sales presentation. Okay, so I know that what I've just shared is a little bit technical and it's a little bit overwhelming. So don't worry. Watch the recording of what I just said a couple more times until you can recite to me the formula. So if you reach out and you text me and say, hey, Sean, I've seen your day 2, and I understand that my formula is I have to sell the lock first. Okay, I have to sell the lock first. I have to sell the key. I have to clarify what is the lock, right? What's the variation of the lock I'm hearing? And then I'm going to sell the key. And then I want to make sure that in the prospect's mind, in my audience minds, this lock and this key, it matches. I don't know if it's going to match. I have to clarify. I have to validate. That's why I keep saying that up to this point in time, nothing has been created because it's not validated yet. I don't know if my lock is my lock. I don't know if the key is the key. So I'm going to present first. I'm going to sell first. And when everybody says, yes, Sean, the lock you're talking about, lock, like I have no time to work out. That's one of my main problems. I don't know how to work out. That's another problem. I don't know what to eat. I don't have support. Yes, you are saying it better than me, Sean. I know my lock is validated, right? And then when I say, well, I can give you this 30-minute plan, it will not take any longer than 30 minutes. I will customize it to you. I will include you in my community. I will give you the accountability you need. And here's all the proof. Here's how present all of us are. I'm sorry that your last program, didn't give you that. Does it match? And if the response you get is, but I don't understand how it matches, that means you're not selling your key properly. If the response is, oh my God, I wish I had this yesterday. Now you know that your key matches, right? And when you ask your audience or you interview people or talk to people and you say, hey, now that you understand the lock and key, do you see how they match? If the response is, yeah, I can see the value, but for my situation, it's different. Okay, then you know that your lock and keys are not matching for them, right? It doesn't matter if it matches to you because we need to validate on the buyer. We need to validate with the audience. But if they say, I've never seen anyone created something that really matches what I'm going through, and I wish I had this earlier, and it's the perfect fit for what I'm looking for. Like the previous program didn't have this, the previous program didn't have that, but your program, this presentation I'm seeing, it really helps me bridge the gap from A to B. It really helps me bridge the gap, give me the support I need, accountability. So if they start selling you on why it is a match, you have successfully matched them together. Yeah, and sometimes you want to ask them also, well, do you see any scenarios where this might not be working? And they say, well, my time zone, my body size, the way I was brought up, my environment. Now you need to understand, this is really important because all these things that they're telling you has buyer impact in it. It has buyer value in it. If you can't address this, by the time they get on a sales call, you're going to get hit by all these concerns. And if you still can't address them, you're going to get hit by a lot of objections. And some sales coaches will tell you that, oh, if they say this, then you say that. But at your core, if you have never truly looked at your offer to say that all these beliefs are going to come up a matter of time, you should not have to wait for a sales call for them to come up. Before the sales call even happen, you already know that it's going to come up. And so you need to talk about it. Right? So when you listen to people, when you listen to your audience, when you listen to the buyers, you have to really listen to them. Because if you're not listening, by the time they get on the call, they will start questioning. Sometimes they may not even question, and they get so passive that they just feel that this is very technical and this doesn't provide what I want, and this thing doesn't match what I need. So the way that you validate your outline, the way that you validate your presentation, the way that you sell first, then create, and the way that you validate if what you sell can sell before you create matters so much. Okay, so this section is really huge. Okay, if you're not able to explain to me what are your buyer beliefs, okay, there's a very high chance that even if you waste 6 months creating a spectacular program, it's still not going to land because the beliefs aren't met. Okay. So if it's clear, type a clear in the comments. If it's not clear, reach out and ask me. Okay, how I know if it's clear for you is if you can reach out and then you share with me in your index. Okay, what is one mechanism that you have? And then what is the buyer journey for that? What is the seller's process for that? And what is the belief? If you can send me an illustration and you can explain to me what is this loop and formula, it tells me that you understand. Because whether you're presenting this on a webinar, whether you're selling one-to-one, if you cannot complete this formula, you won't be able to sell. Okay, so let's look at some examples. If you're like Sean, I can memorize the formula. I know sell the lock, sell the key, match them together, address beliefs. Like I can recite the formula, but can you demonstrate? Can you show me how it's done? Okay, so let's look at one of my best presentations that has converted so well consistently over the last 3 years. Okay, it's called the Complete Closer. And this series of slides, right, I will put it in your members area as a template for you. So I want you to file and make a copy, and then you can just edit the contents to suit whatever industry, whatever niche you're in. Okay, and looking into these slides, first of all, you can see the format of the entire presentation, like how you set the agenda, how you're going to set the time limit, and then how you're going to introduce yourself, and then what is the core promise of this presentation, and then what are the agreements that you want to put up front. If you're going to pitch them, you tell them. If there's work to be done, you tell them. If you have certain expectations, you tell them. And you want to identify the right ICA and filter out the non-bias. Okay, call them out. Okay, and I hope you can see that throughout the entire presentation, I've actually seeded all my buyer beliefs. I've seeded all the buyer beliefs inside, because what I'm trying to create is the buying impact. That's why when people watch this presentation, it has no fancy audio and video, and with sometimes my mic and all that glitching here and there. This thing has converted so well, okay, not because of the fancy graphic, and it probably takes me just 10-15 minutes to create this, but it's converted so well because of the buying impact. Okay, I've seeded all the buyer beliefs throughout because I listen to closers all the time. I know what they go through, I know what they are experiencing, and I know what is the nightmare scenario. So this itself is a closing call. This itself is my signature presentation. I can do this on a call. I can do this one-to-many. I can do this in a physical room. And whether you tell your story, you show some statistics, like whatever you do is to attack the buyer beliefs. Okay, I cannot stress the importance of the buyer beliefs enough. So let's look at an example. Essentially, this presentation is a combination of 4 pillars. Because in my program, the big 4, okay, in my seller's journey, I sell Inner Fire. That's a program for mindset. I sell strategic branding. That's to attract the right companies to close for. Okay, strategic selling, that's the book sales call, sell on chat. Strategic closing, that's my signature way of closing. And combine my program is not the half-hour hustle. My program is the complete closer. And so imagine if I go to my ICA and I say, let me do a sales presentation to sell you my program. Number 1, Inner Fire, Inner Fire, Inner Fire, Inner Fire. Number 2, strategic brand, strategic brand, strategic brand. Number 3, strategic selling. Number 4, strategic closing. And I just go on and on and on. Do you think my buyer understands anything I'm saying? Yes or no? Because all I'm doing is I'm throwing my seller's process at them. It's very important to me. It's very technical. It's very effective, but it's how I understand it. The person watching this webinar, the person watching this signature presentation, they don't understand what's all this, but they do understand, hey, look, Sean, I really want to start my remote sales career, but I'm at where you were 6 years ago. I feel burnout. I'm at my lowest point. I don't have my mindset. I don't have the confidence. This one, they understand. Why? Because it is their buyer's journey. This one, they understand. This is their buyer's journey, right? And I say, with Inner Fire, okay, look, is this what you're going through, right? Is this your buyer's journey? Validate, validate, validate. Until I get a yes, that's exactly who I am. Now I can introduce, well, do you know what Inner Fire is? Inner Fire is relevant because what you need is inner confidence. You need to understand yourself. You need to know what drives you. You need to know what builds your confidence. What is your edge, right? So do you see how it's relevant to you? Oh, but Sean, I don't understand how can, all these things you're saying help me. Okay, so here's why it works. And then you explain your process. I'm not going to do the webinar on you. Okay, I'm just going to explain to you that this is the buyer's journey. This is what the buyer experiences. This is what I want to sell. Right? But if I just talk about this, no one's going to get it. But I can talk about the buyer, talk about the buyer, talk about the buyer. And once the lock is validated, I validate the key. I validate the lock. I validate the key. I validate the matching. Does it match? Okay. And finally, if you have any beliefs, okay, let's overcome it together. Okay, so I do this in my own way, and I want to make it clear that you're not going to score 100 marks on your first presentation, because this might be the first time someone listened to you selling the lock. This might be the first time someone listened to you sell the key. This might be the first time someone listened to you matching the lock and the key, right? This might be the first time someone listened to you preempting their beliefs, right? The lock, the key, the matching the beliefs. The lock, the key, the matching the belief. This might be the first time someone hear that. And because it's the first time, sometimes it doesn't land. Sometimes it doesn't click, right? But it is okay because why? By the time they get to the end of the presentation and they book a call with you and you talk to them, you can ask them, do you remember what I talk about when I talk about inner fire and confidence? Confidence and inner fire. They might say, oh, yes, I remembered something about that slide. Do you remember when I talk about strategic branding? Oh, yes, I remember that, you talk about you not having experience. You talk about you, being based in Singapore. And I relate so much to these locks and problems that you talk about. So it's fine because now you're just making an initial impact. You're just making an initial impression. So by the time they get on a call with you, they actually have experienced your signature presentation once. And once is so much better than nothing. A lot of times people book a call with you and they're like, who are you, right? How can you help me? And then you have to do your marketing on every call from scratch. You have to do your marketing on the call from scratch. How is that productive? Because if you take 3 to 5 sales calls a day, you cannot be repeating this webinar 5 times. So you just need to do it once. And then on the call, you're going to make reference to your presentation. Okay? So to recap, sell the lock. You know what is the lock. Prepare all your locks. Prepare all your locks in this index. Okay? Prepare all your keys in this index. And then prepare the way that you're going to match in this index. And then prepare all the beliefs. You can add more beliefs as you want, but there are going to be a lot of beliefs that come out, right? But what if this happened? What if I don't have this? What if I have this scenario? You want to prepare all of that in advance. Okay? I can see anonymous camel on my sheet. Can you please identify yourself, anonymous camel? Okay, so is everyone clear on selling the lock, selling the key, matching them together, address the buyer belief? Okay, this is a formula that's going to repeat throughout your presentation again and again and again. Every time you repeat it, it is a close. Okay, someone asked me before, what is the formula for the closing psychology? What is the formula for the closing psychology? If you just teach, if you just tell a story, if you just coach, that is not closing. Okay, if you just talk, teach, coach, your audience is going to feel very overwhelmed, or they're going to feel like you've already solved the problem, and so they're not going to buy. That's another classic mistake I see people do. Your presentation has to create buyer belief. So they come to you to buy. They come to you to commit. They come to you to solve that problem, right? And the only way to do that is to create buyer belief. And the formula is you have to sell the lock. You have to sell the key. You have to match them. You have to address the buyer belief. In fact, I will say that at the highest level, you should do it in such a way that your content already teaches all the things that you want to teach. Okay. Don't worry too much about the slide and all that, because this is in your members area. You can always just, replace the content with your own things. Okay, but if you get to the point where your audience knows your signature presentation so well that they can tell you your story, like now people tell me, hey, Sean, I know you're from Singapore. I know you have your martial arts business. I know you started as a copywriter. I know you were down to your $2, right? How do they know that? How do they know I'm a closer? How do they know all these things? It's because I have architected this specific thing. I've sold my story again and again and again, right? So if it gets to the point when your audience can come to you and say, hey, I know you are a fitness coach. I know you used to be overweight. I know that you were able to help yourself get in shape. I know you help yourself quit smoking. Okay. If they can come to you and they sell you the lock, if they can come to you and they sell you the key, if they can come to you and help you match them, and if they can come to you and overcome their own buyer beliefs, this tells me that you have truly mastered the art of creating your signature presentation. Because you are doing this throughout in every piece of content, in all your sales calls, like throughout all your marketing and sales, you are repeating this loop again and again and again. It's not about your tonality, it's not about your words. Okay, those things help to enhance your communication. It helps to sharpen your delivery, but at its core, okay, even with simple basic slides, even with very basic tools, if you can hit this formula, you win, because that itself is the close. Okay. I want to address the buyer belief again, because this is so important. Okay, imagine this, I'm the buyer. Okay, I'm buying your half-hour hustle. I'm buying your signature program. Okay, and I understand the lock. I understand the key. And I can sort of see how maybe when you say, well, do you see, let's look at, let's talk about strategic closing. So my mechanism is strategic closing. And when I sell the lock, I say, well, hey, closers, are you a zombie closer? Are you a one-dimensional closer? Which means that you only have a cause, but you can't implement, right? And a lot of these things is what closers tell me. They told me that they feel really limited and they don't know what to say. They don't know how to talk to influencers. They don't know how to deal with interviews. They don't know how to implement their cause, right? So I learn it and I say, okay, is this what you're going through? And I have validated it. Right, so I say, well, to solve this problem, you need to understand my mechanism. And this is what I have to sell, strategic closing. This is your lock. This is my key. This is your lock. This is my key. This is how it matches. This is how it matches. Okay. At this point, someone might say, oh, I see how you sell the lock, and that's me. I see your key, and that's what I want. But when you match them together, I don't see how it matches. And I'm not convinced. You say this and you say that, but I understand it. Okay. I understand it. It's very clear, but I'm not convinced. Okay. So you need to flip this around, okay, and exchange seats with the buyer and say, okay, now I'm the buyer. You claim that strategic closing can help me close. I can understand why you say that. Okay. But how can I be convinced? Okay. And how the buyer gets convinced is not how you get convinced. Okay, write it down, type it out. How the buyer gets convinced is not how you get convinced. Because different people in the audience think differently. Some need to see a picture. Some need to see a story. Some need to hear a story. Some need to witness a demonstration. Some need to see testimonials. Some don't want to see testimonials. Some don't believe testimonials. Some people, the more testimonials you show them, the more they don't believe you. Some people want to see the breakdown. Some people want to see statistic numbers. Okay, so when there's such a diverse need for proof, okay, you need to back up what you say. You need to validate what you say. Okay, and you need to deliver in a multitude of ways so that the people that go for stories, they get their story. The people that go for testimonials, they get testimonials. The people who want to understand numbers, they can see the numbers. The people who want to just need to understand your rationale. The people who just want to understand the understanding, they get it. Okay, so in your signature presentation, you need to sprinkle your case studies, the people that you have helped get results. What was there before? What was there after? Okay, what is your rationale? What is your own success? Where is your own mastery at? Right? Where is your own authority? What are the things that you yourself have achieved and overcome? Your origin story, right? All the milestones you cross. Because how you come out and teach this thing? How you come out and teach this thing is because you have crossed this milestone before. You have helped someone cross this milestone before. You have attained mastery in this before. You have spent time building this before. So take all the things that you've done and distribute it throughout your entire presentation so that every time you make a claim and you say, well, this is important, here's my story, right? This is important, here's what I did. This is important, here's what I've done. This is important, here's who I've helped. This is important, here's an example. This is important, here's the breakdown. So now your whole presentation, whenever you sell the lock, that's proof. When you sell the key, there's an illustration. When you match them together, that's a demonstration. When you counter the different beliefs, okay, you are able to provide things that can help substantiate your counter. Okay, and you want to sprinkle this throughout the presentation and check every time with the buyer. Okay, when I present it this way, does it help you clear your doubts? Is there any other area where you still feel unclear? Is there, you notice I do that a lot in the way that I talk, because I really want to understand the buyer, right? You really want to understand them. It's not about you. Does this help you connect the dots? Okay, because every time or any time someone tells you this part is not clear, you need to take their feedback. Anytime someone asks you, can you show more proof on this? You need to take that feedback. Okay, because remember what I said at the start of this slide, how the buyer gets convinced, how the buyer builds belief in themselves, believe that you can help them, believe that you have helped people worse than them, believe that you can help people same as them, better than them, believe that what you have, they must have now, believe that what you have is the key. All these beliefs is not from you. It's from that, and different people think differently. So you really need to understand the buyer's belief. I believe I probably said this like 50 times today, okay? So now it's time for you to create your signature sales presentation, okay? And I want to make it clear that no, it does not need to be 60 slides, okay? And no, it does not need to have a fancy graphic. Okay, it does not need to have a fancy design. You don't need a fancy logo. I did this because I've been doing this for a while now. Your presentation should be raw. Remember what I said in day one. Your signature presentation should be simple, direct, effective. Keep it raw, keep it real. Okay, show yourself, keep it authentic. Okay, if you've done something like this, you show something like this. If you've done something like this, you show something like this. And keep it well thought. Okay, don't waste time, spending days and weeks doing 100-slide presentation. Whenever you see yourself going in that direction, stop yourself, pull yourself back. And remember, Sean said, just pick 3. Okay, what did I say? Just pick 3. From your index, okay, this thing can be as long as you want. This thing can be as long as you want. This thing can be as long as you want, because this is your database. You're not going to show this to anyone. This is for you to brainstorm, for you to save all your information, like a way for you to look at your whole business model and say that this is how I'm going to make sense of the whole marketing and sales pipeline. But you are not going to take the whole sheet and throw it on someone. It's very overwhelming, right? Like my own challenge for this event is only 3 things, offer, presentation, container. That's it. In this challenge, I help you build your offer. I help you do your presentation. I help you build a container, and that's it. Just 3 things. Okay, so same thing for you for your signature sales presentation. Don't put in 100 slides. Don't make it a 2-hour presentation. If you can, keep it around an hour or less. Okay, and just talk about the big 3. Pick one lock, okay, that is an external problem for your ICA. Like for my complete closer presentation, it's this. They are burnout, they're in a 9 to 5, they need help. That's one. It's something external, it's not within their control. And pick another lock that is an internal problem for your ICA, like I don't feel the confidence. It's an internal thing. I don't feel the confidence inside. It's an internal thing. Okay, when it comes to closing high ticket sales, I lack the confidence. And then number 3, pick one lock that is about the mechanism itself that you're going to build for them. okay, or the mechanism that they need. Okay, for my ICA with the closer business, they actually need to sell themselves as a closer. Otherwise, they have no opportunity, they cannot get leads, they have no sales. Okay, so they need a mechanism to brand themselves. So I can do an entire training on just the brand, which I have done, called the Unique Closer brand. I've sold it as a standalone program. Okay, so there's a vehicle that I can use for my presentation. Choose something for you. Okay, is it a half-hour hustle? Is it a business audit? Is it a meditation technique? Okay, because that's your vehicle. And for your prospect, with regards to that vehicle, they are like, oh, I feel it's too complicated. I feel that someone in my scenario will have a hard time using your mechanism. I feel that your mechanism is too sophisticated, or I don't understand how your mechanism helps me improve my performance. Or actually, I know your mechanism. I've tried it before and it didn't work. Okay, so those are the locks that they are having with regards to your thing. Like, I've tried it before, it doesn't work, so that's a lock for me. Or I have one right now, but it doesn't work, and that's a problem for me. So that is a belief about the mechanism. So pick one about the external problem. Pick one lock for an external problem, pick one lock for an internal problem, and pick one lock about the vehicle that your ICA needs help with. Put them together, and you're going to talk about 3 things in your signature presentation using this flow. Okay, introduce your brand, introduce yourself. Okay, follow this to prepare your audience, then go through the 3 locks and keys and process and beliefs. Okay, and then summarize it. Okay, and then show all your proof, and then do a call to action. In this case, my call to action is to book a call with me, right? Your call to action can be buy my course. Your call to action can be buy my low ticket item. Your call to action can be submit a form for my high ticket coaching program. Your call to action can be join my wait list for the launch of my program. Your call to action can simply be send me a message. Your call to action can simply be, hey, I'll see you around. Okay? But the whole presentation has to culminate. The whole presentation has to converge. The whole presentation, depending on the context, has to have the call to action. Okay, this is the purpose of your presentation. You are here to sell something. Is it a call? Is it a message? Is it an application? Is it a QR code? Is it to go somewhere? Okay, so the whole thing has to flow to this point. Okay, and you can explain what happens when they do the call to action. What can you expect? Okay, all these things are going to happen. And then you can close your presentation. Anything within 45 minutes to an hour is perfect for your signature sales presentation. And once it's done, where will this go? Okay, your SSP will happen in a few ways. The first one is on a sales call. Okay, when you have a sales call to either interview someone or to validate your offer or to sell your high ticket offer, okay, you cannot just get on a call and chit chat with that person. Before that meeting happens, your prospect should have already seen your signature presentation. Okay, I'm not saying that they have to know everything. I'm not saying that they have to watch everything. I'm not saying that they have to know your presentation so well that they're already closed. Okay, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying they should have at least seen it. Okay, that will save you so much time. That will save you so much, misconceptions. Because by you showing this, you already let them know that if we have a call, it's a sales conversation. I am going to sell you. We are going to talk business because I'm fully confident that I can help you achieve all these things, right? So if you want help in your business, if you want help with your fitness, if you want help with your relationships, okay, I am going to sell you. Okay, and it's what's going to happen. You list it all down. So by the time I already understand what's going to happen, I book this call, I know it's a sales call. I know I have to know all your mechanisms. It's an investment call. Okay, so now do you see how important your SSP is? Because so many coaches, so many teachers and experts, they are so great at what they do, but they don't have a signature sales presentation. So when they meet one prospect, they talk about one thing. They see another prospect, they talk about another thing, and they lose track. They go out of point, and they start teaching and coaching and teaching and coaching, and then end up the person don't buy. Or they start validating and validating and go into consultant mode, and they talk, and the prospect don't buy. So that is not closing. That is already coaching. That is already teaching. And when you do that, you are pushing away the people who want to invest in you because they want the whole thing. They want the whole system. The best prospects, they want the best and deepest and most complete transformation that they can have. Okay, so don't go and coach them because you're not going to help them in one session. Don't go and teach them because you can't help them solve such an important problem in just one call. I understand that as a coach, as a business owner, you might really have the desire to coach. You might really have the desire to teach. You might really have the desire to share. But your prospect is not here for that. They have a deep problem that they want to invest high ticket to get the transformation. And by you being transparent and say, yes, I am going to sell you. Yes, my signature program is the complete closer. And here's all the details. Okay, here's the price, here's everything. Okay, and here's everything inside. When you can be fully transparent with what you're selling, and you do it in reverse, you just tell everyone that this is your program and you are going to sell. And then you focus your marketing effort on saying that inside my program, this is my signature module 1. This is my signature pillar 2. This is my signature sub-program 3. This is my signature mechanism 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is what I have to offer. This is the price. This is the full breakdown. Okay? And if you do book that call, we are going to talk business. Okay? This is so different from all the coaches that I see. They either over-teach, they over-coach, they over-consult, and the prospect don't get that transformation, or they are booking calls without creating buyer beliefs. Their marketing and sales do not create buyer beliefs. It's technical, it's all over the place, there's no predictability. Monday is different from Tuesday, Tuesday is different from next week. So when it is that chaotic, no one understands what your offer is. So your prospects all need to see your SSP. If that is clear now, type a clear in the comments. Even if you're watching the replay, type a clear in the comments. If it's not clear, reach out and ask me and say, Sean, I don't understand what you say about the SSP. Okay, ask me. Okay. On the call itself, you will be making references to the specific parts of your SSP. You are going to pull out your slides, whether it's in person or online or whatever. You are going to pull out the slides and they ask you, but Sean, how do I do this? You're going to ask them, have you seen this? Do you realize that this is a problem? And do you remember what did I say? I said this, right? So you can draw reference to very specific parts of your SSP depending on where the call goes. Why? Because you want to make sure that you're selling the right lock, you're selling the right key. In the prospect's mind, you are matching them correctly and you're tackling the right beliefs. Otherwise, by the end of the call, they're going to tell you, oh, I have not enough money. Is it really a money problem? They'll say, hey, I need to talk to my wife. And then you learn, all those things. And you say, well, if your wife is here, what would she say? It's really not about the wife. There's something that you miss, If they say, hey, now's not the right time. Is it really about the time? No. Somewhere, somehow, one of these elements was missing and the prospect doesn't want to tell you anymore and it's over. Okay. You are also going to use your SSP in your launch event. When you put people in a room and say, hey guys, I've been building up towards this launch for a while now and here's my thing. This is what it's about. That is the perfect time to drop, validate, and present your signature presentation. Okay, and throughout your social media, you are then going to clip different parts, different sections of the video into shorts, put it on YouTube, change it to a written post. Like your whole marketing department is going to draw from your signature sales presentation. Why? That way, everything in your content, everything in your marketing, every single touch point, no matter who comes to you on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on YouTube, on Instagram, on TikTok, on email, anywhere they chance upon your thing, the flow is coherent. The flow is governed by the formula. The buyer impact is consistently strong throughout all your different channels. So, what does this mean for you? This means that there will never be another scenario where you stumble on how to sell. You will never say something like, how do I talk about my value? Remember, I showed this slide at the start of today. You'll never say something like, oh, I don't know how to articulate my value. You'll never say something like, I don't know how to make it relevant. You'll never say something like, oh, I was so nervous because I don't know how to present my solution. You'll never say, oh, I don't know how to sell. You'll never say, how do I promote what I have? You'll never say, then if they say this, what's my response going to be? Because you know that no matter what happens, they are all just variations of your research and preparation and organization. Okay, so this is launch day 2, how to create your signature high ticket presentation. You can use this to sell your course, no coaching. You can use this to sell a high ticket offer. This outline will be your members area. This write-up will be your members area. Same for the index, same for the 60 slides that you can use as a template. Don't copy any of this. Put in your own content, your own energy, your own understanding. And if you want my help, okay, head over to seansena.com/VIP. You will see this landing page here. For $197, I will have 3 calls with you. The first call, I'll build your offer. The second call, I'll build your presentation. The third call, I'll build your audience and container, all with you. That $197 is for 3 sessions of my personal time with you, plus 30 days of Telegram support. If you need something, I'll send it to you. You need help, a voice message, you need a piece of resource, I'll forward it over to you. I got your back every step of the way for 30 days. And for an additional $300, or you can just get the whole thing as the complete CEO bundle for $497. Okay, you will get access to every program that I've created under the complete CEO unit. As Launch VIP, the close method, sales via chat for you to book sales calls and close on chat, as well as my signature inbound closing formula. The close is a clarity, leadership, offer, sales, and age. My signature 5 pillars for you to build a complete business online. Okay, all you need to do is head over to completecloser.com/bundle. That is completecloser.com/bundle, and then you can have everything in your belt, in your members area. Okay, and then you have all the tools and all the understanding and all the time to practice and implement. And my question to you is, how am I able to deliver this presentation without a script? Okay, it's because I practice. One of my influencers that I closed for before, he taught me this method. His name is Mark, and he taught me this method, the 5-3-1. He said, Sean, every day I want you to practice. Okay, find 5 people. Okay, present 3 times and close 1. Okay, so by learning this, it's not just to do up a slide and then wait. I want you to really find people and practice. You know, create opportunities for yourself where you can put people in a room, online and offline. Go live with yourself. Go live in a private group. You know, and practice. Because with a great offer, people need to know about your gift. With a great offer, people need to know about what you can help them. Okay, just by you being fully present in your business, by you making the effort to deliver solid presentations, by you being so present and so intentional and putting out content that helps people with their locks and their keys, your audience will appreciate you. They'll appreciate you being present. And a lot of times, even if you mess up on the sequence, you mess up with your tech, you know, it's raw. No matter how raw it is, people will still appreciate you for your intention. So practice until, you know, it all makes sense for you. But even if you don't get it all perfect, remember, as long as you keep it raw, it's real, it's authentic, it's well thought, okay, you will have a successful launch. I will see you tomorrow for day 3, and that's when we're going to work on your container, okay, as well as your audience and how you're going to build up for your own successful launch. Any comments, questions, feedback, send them my way, and I'll see you in the members area. I will see you in day 3.